Shalom, shalom. This week's Parsha reading is Devarim. We start with a whole new sefer, a whole new book, the fifth book, Deuteronomy, and in it, Moshe recalls many things that have happened in the Torah in order to convey certain messages that he wants to really drive home to the nation before he passes away. And I want to take a look at one of the things that he says in the beginning, um, and see what it is that we can learn from it. And especially in this time that's right before Tisha B'Av next week, where we will fast and mourn the destruction of our temples and many other things that atrocities that have occurred that we really suffered throughout the years, really as a result from the sin of the spies, the Meraglim, who did not want to enter the land of Israel that God had promised us. And that caused a spiral of events that we suffer from till to this very day, until hopefully the third and final Beit HaMikdash will be built, Bezrat Hashem, quickly in our days. But let's take a look at this. So Moshe says when we're on Mount Sinai that they had become very, very numerous. And he said, Lo uchal lavadi se'et etchem, that I cannot carry you alone, that you've become too numerous, it's too difficult. And these famous words that he says, that ring in our ears because of the word used. It says, Echa esa levadi, tarchem, umasachem, rivchem. He says, how can I alone carry your contentiousness, your burdens, your quarrels? And of course, this word Echa is very relevant because when we mourn on Tisha B'Av, we read the book of Echa, Lamentations. And this is the first Echa that we see. Moshe saying, I couldn't carry you alone. How can I carry you by myself? And I think that there's a message to be learned from the very first Echa, how can I do this alone? That causes that question, that causes many of our difficulties, many of our traumas, many of our recurring failures in life. And I think it starts with Moshe trying to show them that when a person thinks that he or she can do everything on their own, we're going to be independent, a self-made woman or man, and they have this attitude like they don't need everyone, or they limit themselves very much to what their thing is. This is a recipe for disaster. Um, all the people that are around in our families, in our neighbors, in our nations are necessary to work together. And when we don't work together, when we don't see that we're all here for a reason and see the relevance, the importance, the significance of each and every unit to make the whole, then we do end up lavad. We do end up alone in our suffering, in our pain, in our agony, that will affect us in the end communally, which is the irony. Because if we try to go it alone, if each person tries to go it alone, it ends up causing communal suffering. And then we're forced somehow through that to bond together out of total necessity, out of total lack of independence. We become dependent on whatever it is we can get, and hopefully learn the value of the other person, of the other. And I think what Moshe is trying to convey to the people is that you always have to work together. You have to have systems with each one doing what their strength is, what they know how to do, and come together as a nation and work together. And he's trying to drive this home, especially before the nation goes into the land to work in harmony. Because especially when they go into the land, everybody's going to be going into their own professions when they settle, and there'll be farmers and there'll be people that do all sorts of things, sell things, make shoes, whatever it is. Everybody has their own thing that they're going to be doing, and that they all have to work together. They all have to work as a unit to make the country thrive, each with his own talent. And if we only understood that and saw the godliness in each other and worked together, then we wouldn't suffer in the end, because we would, because we cherish each and every person. We would make sure that relationship works. So I think that's the message now when we're in the 9 days, is to try and to understand the value of each person as we come into contact with other people, and value that and work with people, no matter how difficult it might seem, because it is difficult. It's just not easy for so many reasons. But good things are never easy. They're a work. And when you work on yourself and you work on your relationship with others, everybody fares well in the end. Shabbat shalom.